I thought maybe we'd start today's conversation with talking about what has transpired in the traditional banking system over the last month. I mean, there's been a ton of instability there. There's been bank runs. There's been the Treasury and the Fed coming in to quote unquote save the day. Um, and right now things are starting to calm down, but it's still not really over. So I was wondering maybe if you could just, what are some of your major takeaways from what just happened over the last month? I mean, it's been a pretty crazy time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised by any of it in the least, to be frank. I think it's just another case of fractional reserve banking failing in real time. It does seem a little like when I see some of the back and forth between Janet Yellen and some local senators and whatnot on the Senate floor. It seems like there's kind of a controlled demolition going on. Like the one big impediment between the implementation where we are today and the implementation of a CBDC is the commercial banking sector, right? Like the CBDC would basically it would obviate the need for commercial banking entirely. Everyone would just have an account directly with the Fed. So it's kind of interesting to me that, one, they've hiked rates. So you're actually giving depositors a big incentive to move their deposits into either large banks or, treasury bonds, things like this. Well, specifically treasury bonds to get the yield. And then two, like Janet Yellen and these others are sort of representing that, okay, the big banks will always have all their deposits guaranteed, but the smaller commercial banks, it's less certain whether they'll have their deposits guaranteed. So they're like making the commercial banking system out to be much more risky, which is, I guess, incentivizing depositors to move into big banks or into treasuries. And it feels like kind of a controlled demolition, right? If you can wipe out the commercial banking sector or create a lot of doom and gloom, you could set the stage for the rollout of a CBDC in a way that's introduced as a solution to the problem that, of course, they themselves create. So it just feels like a lot of central bank bullshit going on in the world. And if people just understood that Bitcoin is a full reserve bank, that's all you really need to know, right? Like the Fed disallows Custodia Bank from coming on the scene because they're a full reserve bank, and that threatens the business model of all fractional reserve banks. The same reason the Fed disallows Custodia to have a banking charter is the same reason they're so deathly afraid of Bitcoin. Right? There's a natural demand for full reserve, low risk banking, obviously. But the fractional reserve paradigm that we're in has prevented people from having access to that for a long time. So thankfully, we have Bitcoin.